Hello, 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 and welcome to the High Altitude Investing live stream. Today is the 13th of June, and we're going to be talking about crypto as always, and running over what I think is going to happen with these charts and what's coming for this market. So we'll go ahead and get started here, share the link everywhere, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin first, as always. And then we'll get into all of the other coins that you guys always request. I do have a couple specific requests from people that couldn't make it to today's stream, so I will be covering those as well. But we'll start off with Bitcoin here, and then we can get into those other coins in the stream today. Charts chasers, what is up, my friend? Stoic pioneers, good morning to you as well. So starting off here on Bitcoin on the daily candlesticks, you can see we did have a bit of a pullback here on Bitcoin. Once we hit our major resistance up here, we had a bit of a pullback, but nothing crazy. A lot of people are freaking out right now. They're thinking, no, World War III, a lot of people are thinking that the markets are going to go really low. They're really afraid because of world events and stuff happening. And you just have to tune out of that stuff. You have no idea how many times I've seen people talk about, World War III or China banning Bitcoin or, regulations taking over and just like destroying the markets and COVID happening. And how many times I've seen time after time, situation after situation, where there was some major world event and everybody thought that the markets were going to go down. Everybody thought the markets were going to crash, and they didn't, or they did for a minute, and then they recovered and went nuts. And a lot of times, most of the time that people thought that the markets were really going to go low, that there was a big correction coming in the markets, that was usually the best time to buy. Like that was almost always the most opportune time to be picking up crypto. And then in the times where people were afraid and the markets did crash a little bit further, it's never been big. Like COVID, there was a bit of a correction, but it didn't last very long. It only lasted during the month of March. And actually the crash was very short-lived. And it was a fairly large correction, but it was very short-lived. And then we went into one of, a huge bull market for crypto that really lasted pretty much during the entire pandemic. Crypto went up. So you just have to remember that a lot of people get afraid. A lot of people are looking at outside events and they're trying to determine their analysis on those outside events. And most of the time, you have to realize the news is always going to try to make everything sound as crazy as possible. That's how they make sales. That's how they get people to tune into their shows and watch their ads and make money. They make money by basically fear-mongering. So if you're going to trade the markets based on news, you have to understand that it's probably not going to be the most effective strategy. And if you do use it, then you want to use the classic old Wall Street thing that says, buy the rumor, sell the news. So if you are going to try to trade news, say there's some good news, like rumor of something good happening, then you buy the rumor. And then when the positive news event actually happens, you sell the news. And a really good example of this was Ethereum getting the ETF approval on Ethereum. Everybody was trying to buy the rumor, or everybody was trying to buy the news on the ETF getting approved for Ethereum. And if you look at what happened, Ethereum dumped after the ETF got approved. So if you go look at Ethereum, and this is when the ETF got approved right here. Yeah, it pumped a little bit, like it pumped up a little bit right here, but everybody sold the news. They didn't buy the news. The bigger whales, they sold the news because there was a rumor of an ETF getting approved way back here. And so all of the bigger players, they were buying the rumor. And then once the ETF actually got approved, they sold the news. And Ethereum crashed really hard. And in fact, it hasn't even been able to break above resistance since then. Now, personally, I see us breaking through resistance pretty soon. Like we're going to break out up above our local resistance up here and really start to take off. And we will see the fruition of an ETF and the positive aspect of the ETF getting approved. But in the short term, the market's crashed. And so that's what happened on a positive news event. And a lot of times what happens on negative news events, everybody thinks the market is going to crash, and maybe there's a little bit of a crash, but most of the time the market goes up. Most of the time when there's a lot of FUD, when there's a lot of fear, when there's a lot of reasons in the news to be bearish, the market's bullish. And when there's reasons in the news to be bullish, the market ends up being bearish. And it's not perfect every time, and it's really hard to discern between the good signals and the bad signals. And that's why I always tell people, learn technical analysis, because the charts don't lie. But the media will lie to you every single day. You know? If they can spread fear and get everybody worried about something, it's profitable. That's why there's rarely any positive news when you go watch the news. Why do you think that is? It's because they found that if they say scary things that make everybody afraid, then everybody will go watch them. So they try to put everybody in this perpetual trance of fear-mongering because that's what gets the most viewers. And I'm not saying the crazy stuff doesn't happen in the world, because it does. But in relation to the markets, you have to understand that fear, uncertainty, and doubt is a very real thing. FUD, FUD. There are so many times when in the news or even outside of traditional news, even just like watching people's YouTube channels or, whatever, where people are going to have a reason to try to scare you out of the markets, to try to instill fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And a lot of people that do this think that they're helping people because they're deceived by whatever thing is happening that they're seeing as a justification for selling. So a lot of people will do this innocently and tell people to sell their crypto when in reality they should be buying because they think that the FUD is a good enough reason to sell. So just understand that there's a lot of FUD out there, a lot of fake news, a lot of stuff that tries to convince you to get out of the markets when it's a good time to buy. And that's really the story of the markets today, right now. Can you cover LTC? Yeah, we can talk about Litecoin here in a minute or two. I have some other coins to cover too that were special requested by people that weren't able to tune in today. Tiger King, Dallin Gang. What's up, man? Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream. Big dog. I try not to call people man or bro, because big dog is way more appropriate, don't you think? Call people big dog. Go and check out liquidity pools for passive income. Yeah, a lot of people will do staking or liquidity pools to earn passive income, and that's a pretty good way. If you have a lot of capital, you can lock away pretty good amounts of capital into these things and produce massive profits because of the fact that you've locked your money away. And you're able to accumulate consistent gains, like daily rewards. So that's pretty cool. So yeah. Anyway, it's basically what I wanted to say about the markets is don't be afraid. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people let outside events control their investing decisions. If I would have done that, the amount of times I've seen Bitcoin get banned in China, or regulations are going to end crypto, or, World War III is breaking out. It's always a different place, too. It's always like somewhere new where it's breaking out. The amount of times that I've seen those things and then the market recovers or corrects, has a small correction or a short-term correction, even if it's somewhat big in terms of percentage gain, but then the market goes higher and recovers and keeps going up because of the fact that crypto is a new technology. It's ridiculous how many times I've seen that happen. So don't fall for it. Don't fall for the FUD. Don't fall for the people out there that just want to take your money. They want to knock you out of the market before it takes off. It happens all the time. All of the time. I mean, think of how many people were bearish down here on Ethereum at 1,400 per coin. Everybody was bearish. And just exactly as planned, we're all the way back up to 2,500 per coin again. So just keep your head on straight. So I'm going to cover the coins that I had requested from people that weren't able to tune in today, and then we'll get into all of the requests that you guys want me to cover. And if we have time, I'll run over the total crypto market cap as well for you. But one coin that people have requested, and they told me they wouldn't be able to tune in, so I'm going to go ahead and do analysis for them on this coin as requested, is SK Sync. SK Sync. I wonder if this is even the right market. Let's see if it's on Dex Screener. SK Sync. No, not on Dex Screener. I want to do analysis on this, but I don't even know where it is. I don't see the ticker anywhere. I see SK Sync wrapped Ethereum on Uniswap, but this doesn't look very promising. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to do analysis on that coin, whoever sent a special request in, but I have no idea where to do analysis. Let's check CoinMarketCap and see if we can at least do something there. We won't get fancy charts or anything, but at least we will get something. SK Sync. It's not here either. I don't know. Whoever requested SK Sync. Oh, ZK Sync. ZK Sync? ZK Sync. Okay, that makes more sense. I don't know if SK Sync is even a real coin. This makes way more sense. I got tricked by one letter. So ZK Sync, this is a pretty typical kind of correction. You can see it's following the rest of the market now. And if we were to compare this to Ethereum, for example, it's going to look exactly the same. Only Ethereum, being a bit of a bigger name, a little bit more established, has already started to recover. But if you were to look at like SK Sync here on the ZK Sync here on the daily and Ethereum over here on the daily, you're really going to see the same kind of market movement, right? Obviously, Ethereum held up a little bit better here, where ZK Sync had a little bit deeper of a correction during this consolidation period. And also Ethereum had a little bit bigger of a recovery, where ZK Sync really, it started to show signs of a recovery, but didn't see quite as much strength as Ethereum. That doesn't mean that ZK Sync isn't a good investment. It just means that Ethereum is far more established and well known. So you're seeing a bit of a stronger recovery here for Ethereum. And also Ethereum was pretty oversold on the Bitcoin pair. So to see a very strong recovery on Ethereum is no surprise. It was super, super, super oversold. Now with ZK Sync, what I'd be looking at here for this coin is a double bottom. So some people might be trying to call for like a huge drop here, right? A lot of people in the markets are going to be very bearish right now, as I was saying, because of the psychology of the market, right? Wherever there's fear, there's FUD, there's reasons to be afraid. People are going to be leaning towards more of a bearish perspective. But for me, this looks like a perfect setup for a double bottom to form. So we have our left bottom right here, and we're ready to form that right bottom. So something like this, where we bottom out here on ZK Sync and start to head up towards our local resistance. And once we break above this local resistance level right here, that will really confirm our local bottom, our double bottom, and our local bottom, and that will show that this coin is ready for a lot more upside, and we will see kind of a bigger recovery here for ZK Sync. So this does look good. This looks healthy. This looks normal. This looks like a typical double bottom. It's following the rest of the market. So when the rest of the market crashed over the past, X amount of months since November of 2024 until basically April of this year, when the markets pulled back, ZK Sync, of course, followed. However, it looks ready for a double bottom, just like how the rest of the markets have already started to recover since April over the past couple months. ZK Sync looks ready to see a double bottom and a recovery here as well. So it looks pretty good, but we'll stop talking about that coin and get into all of the requested coins for the day. Yo, what's up? We cooked or final phase before blast off. So a lot of people again are wondering if this is the beginning of some big crash, even though we only fell like a microscopic amount on Bitcoin and on Ethereum. So no, we are not cooked. And is this the final phase before blast off? Well, it kind of depends on what you mean by blast off. If you mean by blast off that we're just going to see one final pump and then crypto's dead and done for, I would have to say no. But if you mean by blast off more of a sustained bullish trend where crypto breaks out and continues to break out and gets mass adopted by the public, and we see price of crypto skyrocket and continue to skyrocket with no real clear top anytime soon, then I'd have to say yes. That is my personal thesis on the crypto markets, that we are headed into a mass adoption phase, that we are headed into a massive bull market for crypto. And when this bull market happens, it's going to be bigger and more sustained than anything we've ever seen, because we've never really seen institutional money in the way that we have over the past X amount of years as big institutions have continually accumulated crypto. So we have a different landscape, a different market environment than we've ever seen before. And that different market environment is the kind of market environment that's set up for mass adoption. Just like what happened to the internet. The internet, everybody thought it was a joke. Everybody thought it was a fad. If you go look up news articles, go look it up. You can type in internet was a fad. News, front page, news after internet bubble. Internet may just be a passing fad as millions give up on it. So you can see in the news, like public media, after the internet bubble popped, everybody was calling the internet a passing fad. Maybe not everybody, but most everybody was. That was the cool thing to do. It was cool to consider the internet as something that just people got excited about, and then it failed, and now there's nothing to it. And that's exactly what your general, like the general public, your average person, is going to say about crypto. They're going to call it a passing fad. They're going to say, oh, well, did you see all those NFTs that went up a whole bunch and then fell 99%? Did you see how all those altcoins that people bought fell 94%? That's what people are going to be calling crypto right now. Even still, even with Bitcoin breaking out, they're still in disbelief. People still think crypto is a joke. And I'm talking to people that follow my, you guys all follow my channel, and everybody that follows my channel, you guys are all going to be pretty into crypto as a technology. So when I talk to you, you're going to be like, well, all of my friends think crypto is cool, or at least a lot of them do, or there's a fairly big interest in it. But you guys are inside of the crypto community. So you have to recognize that you're inside of a tightly knit group of people that believe in this technology. But if you go ask everyday people on the street, if you grab a microphone or your phone and make a TikTok or whatever, where you ask 30 people on the street what they think crypto is and what they think it's going to do, they're either going to tell you they don't understand it, that it was a bubble, that it was just a joke, how can it have any real value? It's just some digital thing. They're going to have all these really just average, everyday kind of people responses, because new technologies at the beginning are rarely embraced until they're mass adopted by the public. And that's really what we have set up for in these markets. The total crypto market cap is set up for mass adoption. So if you go to total crypto market cap, if you want to look at crypto as an industry, this is the best chart to look at, right? Because it's all the different coins combined together. And if you look at the total crypto market cap in the bigger picture, we are in a massive uptrend. I don't think most people understand how big of an uptrend this is. People don't realize what is right in front of their face. Even crypto people that are excited about this technology are underestimating what's about to happen. Like moon boys are underestimating what's about to happen. People that are uber bullish are underestimating what's about to happen. The amount of potential gains that we have for crypto over the next X amount of years, I don't know exactly how long this is all going to last, but I do know it is going to happen. The amount of potential gains that we have for crypto is absolutely insane. It's not we're not talking about small numbers here. We're talking about blowing people's expectations completely away. Look at the total crypto market cap over here on the left, and look at Apple over here on the right. And Apple did the exact same thing. This is the internet bubble right here. Here's 2008. Here is the first crypto bubble, the first one that had substantial volume, because obviously there was one in 2013 and like 2011 as well. But 2017 and 2021 were the two big crypto bubbles that had substantial volume, actual trading volume that was worthy of talking about in terms of US dollar. And the total crypto market cap really did what Apple Computers did early day on its cycle. And you can even see down here on Apple where billions of dollars of institutional money is coming into this market, just steadily accumulating it before the uptrend actually goes full force. And once the uptrend actually goes full force, the volume leaves. Look, all the volume is gone. Apple is rising on no volume. It's increasing in volume, or it's increasing in price on no volume right now. Why? Because all the big institutions bought early on. During the internet bubble and during 2008, you can see it in the chart. The charts don't lie. There was billions of dollars of institutional accumulation for Apple early on in its cycle. And that's what led to this stupidly large uptrend that made a bunch of investors stupid rich. That's what happened. Big institutions put billions of dollars in early on before the uptrend really went full force. And now it's just increasing on retail money. The price of Apple is going up because retail investors are FOMO buying. There's literally no institutional money here at all now. It's all, they've already bought in. They bought in way forever ago, before the price went to $258 per share. What do you think is happening with crypto right now? Why do you think BlackRock and Grayscale and Michael Saylor and all these different people, why do you think all of this institutional money is putting billions of dollars into the crypto markets right now and retail money is still skeptical? Unless they're smart. It's because mass adoption is coming in this market. That's why this is happening. And yeah, the total crypto market cap, it will start to do what Apple is doing right now, where the price goes nuts, but the volume all of a sudden disappears. And there isn't just massive billions of dollars in trading volume anymore, because Apple can't go up forever. Increasing price and decreasing volume is bearish. That's a sign of weakness. Apple, it could have another big run here still. It could have one more big parabolic run. But it's going to have a massive, massive, massive correction at some point. There's no volume to sustain this parabolic movement. Apple will see a 70-80% correction at some point. It could be 2029 before that correction starts. We could have one more hoorah here on Apple. But at some point, Apple will see an 80% decline in value. It cannot keep going up on no volume. It's impossible. If there's no more demand, if there isn't billions of dollars worth of demand for something, how is it going to continue to increase in value? Demand, limited supply, and demand drives price. And if the demand isn't here, and you can see clearly all the volume is gone in comparison to early day Apple, there's no way that Apple Computers is going to continually rise. It could have, like I said, I think it could easily have another big pump before it tops out. But this stock will crash. I can guarantee that. It will crash. There's no other way to say it. If there isn't demand, price cannot continually increase. Now, to my point, the crypto markets are like right here. Okay? If you look at Apple in terms of its cycle and you look at the crypto markets are like right here. You see how Apple started to break above its old all-time high in 2000 and 9 right here. After the 2008 crash, it broke above its old all-time high in 2009 here. Well, Apple started to have some kind of volatile corrective movement here. You can see it went from $9 a share all the way back down to $7.20, then up to 9 again, and then back down to $8.50. There was a lot of volatility when it broke above its local high, its old all-time high here at $7.18 after the 2008 fiasco right here, right? So what happened for Apple, we had a breakout above the old all-time high. Where have we seen this before? And then the market pulled back. Where have we seen this before? That's exactly what the crypto total market cap is doing right now. It's literally a spitting image, a copy-paste of what happened to early day Apple. And in terms of institutional money, the institutional money is here right now. But will it be here later? Do you think they're just going to keep buying when the price goes parabolic? No. They've already been positioning themselves. Yes, there will be some institutional accumulation even after the price breaks out again. But they've been positioning themselves all through 2022, even a little bit in 2017, but mainly in 2021, 2022, and recently as well. The big institutions have really been positioning themselves since 2020 for crypto to break out. Now, once crypto actually does what Apple did, the price of the total market cap here, we could hit 10 trillion, 20 trillion, 30 trillion. This is totally possible. Crypto is the first global payment system, the first universal money that isn't dependent on a single government entity. Do you realize how much market cap can come into crypto? This thing can go so high. Look what happened to Apple after institutional money accumulated it. That's what's happening to crypto. The institutions have been accumulating. Now imagine the fruition of that accumulation. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be huge. The parabolic movement that's coming in the total crypto market cap is going to be absolutely insane. So the worst thing you could do is freak out. The worst thing you could do is be focused on the news. The worst thing you could do is be trying to sell, too early. That's the worst thing you could do right now. Can you cover Litecoin? Yeah, we're going to start covering all the coins that you guys have been requesting for the day. I know I got on a whole tangent about the total crypto market cap and what I think it's going to happen, but you guys have to understand what's coming for crypto. I don't want to see anybody left out, I don't want to see anybody selling their crypto too soon, afraid because of some news event. You got to stay focused on what's happening in the bigger time frame. And what's happening in the bigger time frame, we are set up for mass adoption of a new technology. Just exactly like early day Apple over here. That's what the total crypto market cap is today, right now. Imagine the growth that's going to happen in this market. It's going to be pretty hard to understand for a lot of people. They're going to be like, whoa, that's so crazy. How'd that even happen? So let's pull up old Litecoin, good old LTC. The old classic old Litecoin. Let's pull it up on Bitfinex, where we actually have enough data to do analysis, because you really can't do it very good anywhere else. So Litecoin is one of the coins I am bullish on for this cycle. Again, if you want to follow big institutions, go look at what they're doing with their money and follow it. And one of the things that they're doing is they're buying Litecoin. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's actually, you don't see it here on Bitfinex because Bitfinex is pretty much a dead exchange in comparison to trading volume on other exchanges, so you don't see it here. But if you go other places like Binance, or even if you go look at Coinbase, or if you go look at Grayscale, big institutions are accumulating Litecoin. As ridiculous as it sounds, it's 100% true. I know some people don't like Litecoin. They're like, oh, that thing is a stupid coin from 2017 where Charlie Lee dumped all his coins, and I don't know why anybody would ever invest in that coin. Some people have like a very negative view about this coin. But why are big institutions putting billions of dollars into it? Why is there still billions of dollars in trading volume on Coinbase? Why? Well, it's probably for good reason. There's probably a reason for that, beyond just people's opinions about whether Litecoin is a dead project or a good coin or not. The data never lies. If you want the truth, look at the data. That's the most powerful thing that you could ever do, no matter what market you're looking at, no matter what, even outside of markets, whatever you're doing in life, go look at the data. And truth is that Litecoin is in the top 30 in trading volume. In the top 30. Just in the last 30 days, we had $14 billion in trading volume on Litecoin in the past 30 days. That's right up there with AVAX. Everybody loves AVAX, but for some reason, because Litecoin is this older coin, people have this biased opinion about it when they really should ignore that and just look at the data and trust the data. You know, look at Cardano, whatever you want to call it. It's number 22 in trading volume. Look at Dogecoin. Why do you think I make videos about Dogecoin and buy Dogecoin? It's because it has $45 billion in the last 30 days in trading volume. Yeah, it's a dog coin. It's a meme coin. Who cares what it is? If it's going to go up in value, I don't care if it's called fart coin. If it's going to go up in value, I seriously don't care. And yes, it's number 45 in trading volume, the one that is actually called fart coin. Which I don't really talk about very often because the name is pretty cringy, I'm not going to lie. But it is bullish, right? Like, it's one of the top performing coins in the past 3 months. So who cares what it's called? Who cares if it's a dog coin? Who cares if it's Litecoin? Who cares if it's a coin about a turtle? You know, if it's gonna 100x in value, I'm gonna buy it. And I don't care what people think about me, and I don't care what the name of that coin is. If I'm gonna make cold profit that I can put into my bank account and buy more crypto with, I'm gonna buy it. That's, who cares, right? You have to be dumb to be so focused on fundamentals that you don't buy stuff that moons. Everybody takes this moral approach to trading where they're like, oh, I only buy stuff that has good fundamentals, bro. And then they make 20x on their investment because they bought something with a market cap that was so high that they don't even make that much and they get mad that all these meme coins are going up 45 times in value or 100 times in value, and they bought something based on its utility. I have to tell you, markets move because of human emotion, not because of utility. Utility can drive emotion because it can increase demand, but utility is not the only source of demand. Demand can be created just because people get excited about something. And, for Litecoin, there's clearly demand. There's billions of dollars of institutional money. Not only that, it looks exactly like early day NVIDIA. And I've shown this fractal before, but just like how the total crypto market cap looks like early day Apple, Litecoin looks exactly like early day NVIDIA, identical to it. If you pull up NVIDIA in its early day and you take a look at the accumulation cycle for NVIDIA and you look at Litecoin right now, tell me that you see a big difference in these charts, because I don't. It's the same story happening over and over again. Whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, human emotion never changes. And you see the same patterns in these markets. And Litecoin today is a lot like buying NVIDIA down here at 30 cents before NVIDIA went parabolic, just exactly like what I'm expecting to happen for the entirety of the crypto markets. A parabolic run. Like this. Mass adoption. Insanely high prices. Parabolic movement beyond people's wildest dreams. That's truly what's coming for crypto. That's what the charts are telling us. That's what the data shows. No, that might not be what the news is telling you. That might not be what some random guy down the road that has no idea what he's talking about is telling you. But that's what the data is showing. Anyways. It's a good day to be alive, you guys. We're going to talk about Wrapped Dog for a second, and then I'll cover as many coins as you guys want me to cover before the live stream is over. But just to kind of bring home this point of meme coins, and I'm not trying to advertise meme coins alone. The principle I'm teaching here is demand drives price. That demand can come from people loving something because they think it's cool, like a meme coin, or it can come from real utility and real world use case. But demand drives price. Demand is what creates people getting excited about something. That's why it feels scarce, because there's a high demand for something. And demand drives price. And if you look at Wrapped Dog here, look at all this volume down here. It's no surprise the Wrapped Dog from our bottom here is up over 287%. And in fact, when I woke up this morning, it was up over 375% from its local bottom. Wrapped Dog was. Now, this is seriously a perfect example of how demand drives price in markets. Wrapped Dog is not some revolutionary technology that has some wonderful utility behind it. It's a picture of a dog wrapped in styrofoam. That's what it is. There's nothing special about Wrapped Dog. It's a picture of a dog wrapped in styrofoam. Now, it is one of the coolest looking dogs wrapped in styrofoam I've ever seen in my life. But that's what it is, you guys. So where's the utility in this? Other than it being cool and people finding this Wrapped Dog likable and there being a huge community behind it. And yeah, it is pretty fast because it's built on Solana, so you can send wrapped dog tokens to each other really quickly. And yeah, it's the first decentralized meme coin, kind of like how Bitcoin was decentralized in a lot of ways. But is there like a big, massive utility? Are developers going to come develop on this? No. It's a dog wrapped in styrofoam. And yet it's up 375% from the bottom to the peak of this local high. It pulled back a little bit here. Why? Because look at all of the demand down here. Millions and millions of wrapped dog tokens being accumulated down here at these dirt cheap prices. There's a demand for it. People love this coin. And it's the beginning of something massive for wrapped dog. This breakout here, the beginning of something massive for this coin. Like, look at this thing on the 10-day candlesticks, all right? Look how oversold this thing is. Look at how the beginning of a massive reversal is starting to happen for this coin. If you look at it on the log chart, it looks even better because you have this huge downward channel, and then we broke bullish out of that downward channel, and look at all the volume down here. Man, that looks good. This looks amazing. So, demand drives price. That's what I want to kind of teach you in today's live stream. And that's why crypto is set up for one of the biggest cycles in human history, because we have institutional money putting billions of dollars into it. They don't want to lose their money. They're gonna put advertisements. They're gonna integrate crypto into all of the major apps and websites, and everything is going to be integrated with crypto because big institutions are in. And the big institutions are not going to lose their money. And they're going to send the price of crypto soaring. They've already positioned themselves. So the demand for crypto is only going to increase, especially retail demand. And that's what's going to drive price really high because big institutions have already been buying. They're already positioned in the market. All right, cool. Matt Osty says, heck yeah, Friday live stream. Can't wait for Telcoin to launch the bank next month. Yeah, that is pretty exciting. Telcoin is doing some really cool stuff. Iron Mike says, Vchain. And by the way, you guys, I didn't really get into a whole bunch of coins that you requested for me to cover today, and I will try to do as many as I can while I still have time on the stream. But what I've been teaching you is extremely important. Crypto is set up for a mass adoption cycle, and demand drives price. Don't be shocked when total jokes get 10, 20 billion in market cap this cycle, or even higher, that are just total jokes, total memes, because people are excited about it, and because it got shared on TikTok a million times, and because it got shared on X, and now everybody wants some, and so there's demand for it. Don't be surprised when that happens, and don't get mad about it. If you're a utility investor, try not to only be a utility investor. Even if you just put a little bit in some total jokes. You know? It's worth it, okay? You make so much money. It's so fun. All right, Vchain. Yeah, Vchain looks really good here. We have an ABC correction on the log scale. You can see wave A, wave B, and wave C. And then we have our double bottom right here. So coming up and then back down for a double bottom. This really is where you will see a reversal for Vchain. The area of major reversal is going to be off this support level down here. Major area of support. You can see if we grab our rectangle tool and just kind of highlight all of this major support in this area, there is a lot of support for Vchain in this area. And now if we take it off the log scale and show you a typical market cycle, you're going to understand why I'd be bullish on something like Vchain, because this is what markets do. They have cycles, they have corrections, and then they double bottom and they recover again. And it's the same story. It's told over and over again with like slightly different narratives, you know. You know how, like, I don't know if maybe it was Carl Jung. I'm trying to remember which psychologist. There's been a few psychologists that have kind of broken down like the hero's journey. Maybe it was, I haven't done a lot of reading into it. People have only told me about these things, so I can't speak on authority. But who is that guy that George Lucas studied a lot? I forgot his name. Anyways, basically there's a repeating story throughout all of these stories throughout all of history, where there's a hero's journey. And the same kind of framework happens over and over again. There's just different characters and different narratives and slightly different aspects to the story, but the hero's journey is this universal constant inside of the psyche of humanity that keeps appearing over and over again, right? Well, isn't it interesting that the markets have repeating fractals appearing over and over again? I think it's fascinating. It has to speak something towards a deeper inner aspect of our psyche that a lot of people don't fully understand and most people are unconscious of, but it's repeating out and playing over and over again in the markets and even with the hero's journey throughout stories. It's kind of cool. And if you look here on the right, we have the NASDAQ, and if you look over here on the left, we have Vchain. And you can see here's the internet bubble, here's the crash that came afterwards, and here's a double bottom, and then here is the subsequent recovery after the internet bubble popped. Okay? And if you look at Vchain, it's the same thing. Crypto bubble, double bottom here, a little bit of a smaller double bottom. This is more common for altcoins to have a smaller kind of double bottom than what you'll see with like a stock or like with Bitcoin. And then we're watching and waiting for that recovery to happen in this market, for a full-blown recovery to happen for Vchain. And it should happen pretty soon. If you look at the NASDAQ over here, the NASDAQ Composite Index, we made a higher low. So this was a slightly higher low on the right side of the double bottom here. And if we take Vchain and we go like this, you can see we're set up to make a higher low on Vchain as well. Slightly higher low on the right side of this double bottom. So at any point in the near future, this can easily go like this and start recovering and start to see a bull market. We are at the disbelief phase and we're right at that point in the cycle where we're bound to see a recovery soon for Vchain. So that'd be my view on Vchain. Hey bro, will Doge hit $1? If so, please advise, sir, please. Oh man. Yes, Dogecoin will hit $1. I firmly believe it will go higher than $1. $1 is kind of the ultra super mega conservative target for people that want to be really conservative. $1 is really, really conservative for Dogecoin. If you want to get a little bit more of the reality of what could happen for Dogecoin, it could hit $5 to $10 before it tops out. Before we see a major bear market for this coin, it could easily hit $5 to $10 in its cycle. And it's at the perfect place for a double bottom as well, where we have a bottom right here and another bottom forming potentially soon for Dogecoin, where this turns into a big double bottom and it breaks above resistance like this area of resistance right here, and breaks above that level right here and forms a nice double bottom pattern. And that's what I'm expecting for this coin in the short term. But in the bigger picture, this thing can easily hit $5 to $10. Call me crazy now. I seriously don't care. Go watch other YouTubers if you want to and say Dallin is the most ridiculous person I've ever met. I don't care what you have to think about me. Come back in a year or 2 or 3 and take a look at the price of Dogecoin and tell me that I'm crazy. I dare you. Look at Dogecoin over here on the left and look at Bitcoin over here on the right. Okay? Come back in a year or 2, maybe 6 months, when we're at a new all-time high, in 6 months or whatever, 7 months, who knows, and tell me that I'm dumb for saying the Dogecoin can easily hit $1. That's all I have to say about that. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, and new coin. All right, let's do it. Welcome to the wonderful world of crypto, you guys, where we get to talk about Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, and new coin. Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, and new. Yes, my favorite coin ever. Crypto is such a, it's so funny to me sometimes. So this actually looks really good. So if you don't understand what can happen before a market goes parabolic, this is exactly what can happen before a market goes parabolic. All right? This is exactly what can happen. Go look at, just study markets, I'm telling you. If you want to get good at trading, if you want to get good at investing, just study markets. Go look at every stock you possibly can on the biggest time frames. Go look at silver and gold and all of the fractals you can possibly find. Go study as many accumulation cycles as you can possibly find. Go study, just look at charts, especially on these bigger time frames, and imprint their patterns into your mind. And you will be a good trader and investor because you'll understand the type of market movement that happens before a big parabolic run. And if you look at Apple right here, look at this accumulation cycle right here, okay? And then look at Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, and new coin. This is, by the way, this coin has $75 million in market capitalization. Isn't that crazy? That's how big of a market cap this thing got already. This goes to show what I've been talking about all throughout today's live stream, where demand drives price. And that demand can come from people just thinking something is funny to it having utility where they need to use it for some reason. But demand drives price. And Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, and new coin. Why is that so fun to say? Is the spitting image of an early day accumulation cycle. Like, that's what it is. And it can easily go for another bull market and go higher. So, take it for what it's worth, but it can easily do that. Oh, yeah, Joseph Campbell. That's right. That's the guy I was... Yeah, George Lucas studied his work a lot. It's really interesting to look into. there's definitely a lot you can learn from understanding the deep human psyche and universals that appear over and over again. I've never looked into Joseph Campbell a lot myself, or Carl Jung, or any of those guys. But I've had friends that are very, very well educated that have told me their views on it. And it is interesting to think about, you know. My average entry for Doge is 8 cents. Well, you are set up for some really exciting things. Lego King is cool. And you have a really, perfect entry on Dogecoin. That is perfect. Oh, $5 to $10, not this year, okay? I maybe expressed myself a little unclearly here. The way crypto is set up right now is for a mass adoption cycle. So this cycle should last longer than the last 2 cycles, or at least it definitely could. In which case, I'm saying Dogecoin can break out to a new all-time high within the next 6 months. But to get to $5 to $10 could take a little longer than that. But I don't think we'll have a big major bear market, because mass adoption is going to change the crypto landscape to where it doesn't just pump and dump, but it has more of a sustained uptrend. So just to clarify myself, I'm not saying Doge is going to hit $10 in the next year or 6 months. It could easily be worth $2 a year from today, or even $3, and it can definitely be at a new all-time high within the next 6 months or so. But for it to hit $5 to $10 could take a little bit longer. But I'm just saying that I don't think we'll see a major bear market like we have seen the last 2 cycles where it just got cut off really quickly. We have a little bit of a different market landscape than we did then. And we're set up for a little bit of a different scenario. So just to clarify, so you better understand. Nico Cools Vids, thank you. You are awesome. Hey, thank you. You are awesome. I appreciate you tuning in to today's live stream. And I hope you've been learning some stuff and enjoying today's stream. Paul 2B says, thanks, Dallin. Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you tuning in today. Tiger King says, XSwap. Let's pull up XSwap and do some analysis on good old XSwap. A classic in the crypto world. If you don't know about XSwap, this is definitely something to be aware of. Now, XSwap is set up for a nice reversal here. We have a big double bottom kind of structure in this market. So we had a big correction here. And now we're forming an equally big, almost equally big double bottom for XSwap. So what I see coming for this coin is a strong reaction off this lower support level down here, this area of support right here, a very, very strong reaction off of those levels and the beginning of something very big for this coin. Imagine how high XSwap will go when we form a massive double bottom here in this daily time frame over the period of multiple months. As you can see, imagine how high XSwap can go as a result of a big double bottom here in the bigger picture. And that is a pretty common pattern for crypto, is to have a big correction and then a big double bottom structure and a big breakout. That is a extremely common pattern, a double bottom like that. It's called a W-shaped bottom, or a double rounded bottom, or a double bottom. There's a lot of different names for it, but it's a very common crypto structure, and definitely one you want to be aware of and be looking at on a lot of these coins. And even Bitcoin did the same thing, by the way. Bitcoin did this same pattern in 2018 and 2020 and 2019 and 2021, and all through this whole period right here. Bitcoin did one of these big double bottoms, you can see. And it came out of that big double bottom very, very, very uber bullish. I mean, just look how much it's gone up since then. You know, it had a big correction here in 2021, but overall the trend has been very strong. Or 2022, I mean, very strong for Bitcoin since then. So be aware of those double bottoms. They are very powerful. All right, we are an hour and 5 minutes in. I'll see if I can cover one or two more coins, and I'm going to call it a day. Got a big bag of XSwap. Nice, legendary. It's definitely one people aren't like fully aware of what could happen to it, but it has a really strong community. So there's like, it's one of those coins that's heavily underrated for what it's going to do. A lot of people are going to miss out on it just because they don't have any, but it's going to pump really hard. So XOR. Don't know if we can do that one. Smoking chicken fish. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do some smoking chicken fish analysis, baby. I love crypto. I hope you guys love crypto as much as I do. It is so fun to be part of these markets. I mean, how often do you just get a laugh because of the name of something? Like smoking chicken fish. Sounds like a southern, like some girl from the South should be saying it. Got any of that smoking chicken fish, baby? Oh, man. So this is an expanded flat correction here. And you know that because the B wave goes up above the top of the wave zero here. So there's our zero wave right there, the A wave right here, and the B wave goes up above the top of wave zero. So that's how you know it's an expanded flat correction here with smoking chicken fish. And we've started to see an early bottom here, not quite as strong of a recovery as we've seen on some of the other meme coins with similar market caps. But that doesn't mean it won't recover. It just means the other ones have already started to. So they're kind of leading the way for what's coming for a lot of these other coins. And what can easily happen here is a wave 3. So we have our wave 1, wave 2, and now we'd be looking for our wave 3, 4, and 5. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be the end of the whole hoorah here. That could just be the beginning of a bigger recovery where this turns into a wave 1 and wave 2, wave 1, 2, and then it turns into a bigger wave 3 and 4 and 5, and we see a bigger recovery. But just in the immediate future, I'd be expecting our 3-wave impulse and our 4-wave and our 5-wave impulse for SCF. Somebody wants me to do Dent. Let's do Dent. I'll do like one or two more here, and I'm going to call it a day. Come on, Dent. Let's get your chart here. Oh, wow. That's a pretty big correction for this coin. Stuff like this, people think is dead, but it's not. I'm telling you. You can't, just because the price of something goes down, you can't assume that it's dead. Now, if the developers completely stop developing, or some really big black swan event happens, like they get sued and then their company shuts down, or something like that, then yeah, you can call it dead. Like, you can happily call that thing dead. But if it's just that the price went down, that's not a valid enough reason. You got to have a little bit more than just, oh, it fell, to call something dead. Because you have no idea how many times, because I've been in crypto since 2015, and I've been watching the charts even a little bit in 2014, so I've been here for quite some time. You have no idea how many times I've seen stuff fall 94%, 95%, 97%, 98%, 99%, and then see a full-blown recovery all the way to a new all-time high after a 99% drawdown in the big picture. I've seen that so many times. Even Ethereum fell 90. How hard did Ethereum fall in 2018? Even Ethereum fell 93%. You know how many people would have sold? I think that's actually not quite right. Let's get this a little closer here. Yeah, 93%. You know how many people would have sold their Ethereum down because it fell 93% and called it dead? Everybody was calling Ethereum dead. Everybody was. They said it was dead, it was done, it was over, it wasn't ever going to come back. And then look what happened. It went all the way to $4,900 per coin, all the way to a new all-time high, after a 90+% drawdown. So the same thing can easily happen for Dent. It can. It's 100% in the range of actual possibilities for a new all-time high to happen for this coin. That this isn't the highest it ever goes at 2 cents. That it actually goes higher. Especially with mass adoption coming for crypto, a lot of this stuff is going to go crazy. A lot of these coins are going to go all the way to new all-time highs. And the market caps are going to be ridiculous. So, okay, one final coin, and we're going to call it a day. Brainlet. I've never heard of this coin before. Brainlet. I don't know what this is. This is new to me. I've never seen this before. It kind of looks good down here. We've seen some early signs of accumulation. Some people trying to pick up price down here. Little pumps and pullbacks. So a lot of times you will see when a market bottoms out, you'll either see double bottom like that, or sometimes you'll see something like this. And then it will just break out. And that's more like what we see here with Brainlet. Is more of a kind of bouncing around at these really low prices, and at some point, if it can get above the resistance of this kind of channel that it's making, big things could happen for this coin, where it goes vertical and starts to turn around off of those lows. Let's do Theta. I haven't covered Theta today. We'll cover Theta, and I'm going to call it a day because haven't ate breakfast and my stomach is like, Dallin, get some food. Although I will say fasting is a really good thing to do. Fasting, especially if you get into it a lot to where it's kind of second nature for you, fasting is a really, really good thing to do. All right, Theta. Classic old Theta. So people are kind of wondering in the short term, especially, that's mostly what I see people wondering about right now is in the short term. A lot of people are more already decided, okay, crypto is going to increase in the bigger picture. We're going to see more upside for crypto. Quite a few people have woken up to that truth, at least people that watch my channel, because you guys are pretty smart. But what a lot of people haven't woken up to, the idea that crypto could recover in the short term. Because there's a lot of people that think, oh, this could be the short-term top, or maybe we're going to have a bigger bear market before we go up in the big picture. You know, a lot of people, there's still quite a few people that haven't accepted the idea that crypto is going to recover in the short term. And with Theta, there's no exception. A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen in the short term. And on the daily candlesticks, we have our low right here. And we've started to come back down towards this low. So this is a perfect setup for us to have a double bottom. For this to be our first bottom and that to be our second bottom. And for us to have a double bottom pattern here on Theta. So any day now, I could easily see a strong recovery for this coin. And the beginning of a reversal, and the beginning of a double bottom, which would be the beginning of a recovery from this entire downtrend that we saw since our peak over here in 2024, our local peak. So we've had an ABC correction down, wave A, wave B, and wave C. So we had a downtrend here on theta, and the recovery for this coin is really set up here, where we're set up to recover from this correction that we started in 2024 and start to see a bigger picture uptrend forming in the bigger time frame as well. So both in the short term are ready for a double bottom recovery, and in the bigger time frame we're ready for a full-blown recovery for this coin. Just exactly like what happened to Ethereum. If you guys weren't here in 2021, if you're kind of newer to crypto and this is your first cycle and you didn't see what happened to Ethereum and you don't understand what can happen to markets after these kinds of corrections, then just pull up the Ethereum chart and take a look here at what markets can do. We have Ethereum on the right, we have theta over here on the left, and really they are identical. I'm telling you, it's crazy how similar in terms of human psychology these two charts really are. And if you pull the Ethereum chart up here, you can paste it. Actually, that might not work right now. Sometimes you can get it to work. Sometimes TradingView glitches out, and I haven't figured out why. But normally you can copy the fractal and paste it on top, and it will show you. It'll show you what it looks like, what both fractals look like, but apparently right now it's not letting me do that very good. But overall, you can see what I'm saying. Look how similar Ethereum on the right looks to theta over here on the left. It's the same thing, the same psychology. ABC correction down. Everybody sells all their coins because they think it's dead. And then you have a double bottom pattern right here. Just like we are forming here on theta is a double bottom pattern. Imagine how parabolic the movement can come for theta, for this coin. It could be so parabolic here. Very, very, very vertical. Or even it could do something like this too, where it starts to recover, pulls back, starts to recover, pulls back, but goes for a more sustained uptrend that doesn't just crash like how Ethereum just crashed after it broke its old all-time high. If theta goes more for sustained uptrend with more of a healthy kind of growth here, it could just keep growing without any big bear market for quite some time. It could keep growing for a long time before any big bear market, you know? So, but either way, in the bigger picture, we are set up for recovery, and on the daily time frame, we're set up for recovery too. It's just a matter of how parabolic that recovery is going to be. Is it going to be unsustainable like Ethereum and go straight up here and then crash? Or is it going to be more of a sustainable growth because of mass adoption and big institutional money, where it just keeps uptrending, like what we saw with Apple and other stocks after they were, after the institutional money positioned themselves, like what we talked about at the beginning of the live stream today. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to today's live stream. I love you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and future live streams. And yeah, make sure you get your requests ready for next live stream. I'll probably be here next Friday around the same time, either 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. Mountain Standard. I'm still trying to figure out my exact time for doing these streams. Saturday, more people tune in, but Friday works better for me. So I'm still trying to figure whether I should do Saturday or Friday. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and live streams. And as always, stay profitable out there.